Yikes, I can't believe that's someone's actual calendar. Hey there, if you look at your calendar, your day probably has a few key meetings that are important to your role. But what about all the other events on there? These are likely a lot of unnecessary meetings. Learning how to spot and reduce these for your team can help you save costs, boost employee engagement, and even increase focus time. With that in mind, let's explore tips to reduce these kind of meetings from your calendar. Oh, and be sure to stick around to hear from Ross Mayfield, the product lead of apps and integrations at Zoom. Before we dive in, if you're looking to get more productivity tips for high-performing leaders, be sure to hit that subscribe button so you never miss any new content. So let's start with what is an unnecessary meeting. Have you ever been on a call and thought, this could have been an email? That's an unnecessary meeting. These can feel like a waste of time, especially if they're taking time away from high-priority tasks on your plate that have clear goals and results tied to them. Let's take a look at an example calendar. Yikes, I can't believe that's someone's actual calendar. Luckily, it's not, but lots of people have calendars that look very similar to this. Here's what it could look like if we reduce all the unnecessary meetings. Okay, so let's evaluate. Here are the 5 things to look for to see if a meeting is unnecessary. First thing to look for, if the meeting has no agenda and no purpose, it's probably unnecessary. Next, once you're in the meeting itself, if it's going on for too long or you notice that nobody but the meeting host is talking or participating, chances are good it's an unnecessary meeting, or the agenda format needs updating. Lastly, if the meeting ends with no clear next steps, you guessed it, unnecessary. Now that you know what to look for, here are proven ways to reduce unnecessary meetings. First up, implement meeting-free days. This will help employees reclaim time in their calendar for deep work and focus time. Having one day to dedicate to admin tasks or maybe strategic planning is super valuable, especially for roles that normally have their days consumed with back-to-back meetings. At Fellow, we have our focus days every Wednesday. Speaking of which, you can easily implement your own meeting-free day with Fellow's meeting guideline feature set. Anytime someone tries to book an event on that day, they'll be automatically prompted to find another time. Second, if the meeting doesn't have an agenda, cancel it. Without an agenda, there's a high chance that the call will go off topic or will fail to meet its goals over time. In episode 47 of Fellow Supermanagers podcast, Ross Mayfield, the product lead of apps and integrations at Zoom, highlights that having agendas also shows respect for other people's time. I'll leave a link in the description so you can check out the whole episode. You can easily get rid of meetings without an agenda with Fellow. Because it syncs with your calendar, Fellow's time saver automation identifies meetings without an agenda and cancels them automatically. If you really don't want to cancel the meeting and it doesn't have an agenda, you can use Fellow's AI-powered agenda builder to generate some topics and talking points. I'll leave a link in the description so you can try it for yourself. Also, I did a whole other video about AI-generated meeting agendas that you can check out here. Third, have a clear meeting purpose. When you do this, you get agreement from all attendees about the value and goals of the meeting. It also allows attendees to opt out if they think the call's purpose isn't relevant to them, or it might signal that an additional stakeholder needs to jump into that conversation. Fun fact, when an event is being created with the meeting guidelines feature set, the organizer is prompted right away to add a purpose to the description. Fourth, leverage asynchronous meetings. Instead of setting a dedicated time for all attendees to join the call, organizers can host an async meeting instead. The host still prepares a purpose and agenda in advance and then offers a wide time range, like 1 working day, for team members to add notes, comments, decisions, and action items to the collaborative space. Participants will get notified of engagement, and the host sends a summary of the meeting at the end of the async window. Fifth on the list, evaluate your recurring meetings. It's not uncommon for team members to attend recurring meetings week after week, simply because they feel they've committed to that time. It's worthwhile to review all your meetings, regardless of how often they recur, to see if they should be kept, eliminated, or have the frequency adjusted. You can easily enable thoughtful meeting creation with Fellow's meeting guidelines, which are baked in to ensure that recurring events are finite. As a bonus tip, try to conduct a meeting audit every few months, or when you feel like workloads are getting a bit overloaded. You can check out this Fellow blog post for all the details. Reducing unnecessary meetings has a lot of benefits, like cost savings, an increase in deep focus time, and an increase in employee engagement. But it's easy to forget about these benefits if you're not regularly reviewing your team's calendars to actually see how many fruitful versus unnecessary meetings are in their schedules. And that's all for today's video. If you found it helpful, don't forget to give it a like and subscribe for more content just like this. Until next time, stay positive, stay productive, and I'll see you in the next video.